Set building is a key part of Monster Hunter. You prepare for the hunt and slay many monsters to craft increasingly powerful armor and cool layered sets. While you can get by the early game without knowing all of the basics of how to build a set, high rank and master rank will require it. A good set will be the difference between a 20-minute hunt and a 5-minute hunt. However, you will need to know what to prioritize in the set because you must farm everything in the game. This is a guide on how to set build. Let's get into it. Every set consists of your weapon, charm, and 5 armor pieces for the head, chest, arms, waist, and legs. Everything but the charm is available to craft at the smithy, so long as you have the zenny and materials needed to forge them. Weapons are split into 11 blade masters and 3 gunner types. Gunners take a defense reduction for the weapon type, making them squishier than the frontline blade masters. Weapons increase your damage output, armor increases your defensive and resistance stats, while skills attached to armor and decorations that fit into slots can alter every stat in the game. Weapons and armor can be upgraded, increasing your damage and defense. Weapons have attack to boost raw damage, affinity to increase your likelihood to crit, sharpness for blade master to boost your raw and element damage, slots to fit in skills, and rampage slots to fit in rampage skills. Weapons with secondary stats have one of the 5 elements for fire, water, thunder, ice, or dragon, applying that respective element onto the monster as extra damage, one of the 5 statuses for poison, sleep, paralysis, or blast, each with their own unique effect, or a flat defense boost. For the most part, secondary stats are exclusive, so status, element, and defense cannot exist on the same weapon, but title update weapons have hidden effects depending on the weapon's description. Lastly, 8 of the 14 weapons have unique weapon types that affect the capabilities of the weapon and its motion values, creating meta categories for each weapon type. The quote-unquote meta picks for each weapon are based on these stats and weapon types, following the stat lines of 300 plus raw, 50 plus element, 0 plus affinity, and at least white or purple sharpness. For armor, defense and resistances decrease your raw and elemental damage received from the monster, increasing the number of attacks you can take before carding. Elemental resistances can be negative, increasing your elemental damage received instead. However, skills and slots determine a good armor piece. Slots are just stand-ins for decorations you've crafted. Level 4 slots are valuable because priority skills count for 2 points in a level 4 slot. With the exception of guard and element boosts, level 2 and 3 slots both provide 1 point per slot. Level 1 slots are abundant in early game, but become valuable due to their scarcity in endgame. Some skills are locked to level 1 decos, so level 1 slots are valuable for endgame sets. While you can technically fit a level 1 slot into a level 2 slot or a level 2 slot into a level 4 slot, you never want to, because you want to maximize the amount of skills you receive from each slot. Some skills like Blood Awakening are locked to armor pieces, so you must run the armor piece in order to have it on the set. No augments or charms can work as substitutions. As you progress, a fair number of previously armor locked skills become available through augments and charms, letting you drop armor locked pieces in late game. Skills fall under one of 4 informal categories: damage, functional, defensive, and quality of life. A damage skill is any skill that increases your damage output like burst or attack up. Some damage skills can only be used by certain weapons because of the condition attached to the skill, like Charge Master requiring you to have a charge attack, Offensive Guard requiring you to have a guard, and Rapid Morph requiring you to be able to morph. Functional skills improve the duration or effectiveness of your weapon through skills like Quick Sheath, Rapid Morph, Load Shells, Razor Sharp, and Guard. These are weapon specific in their effects most of the time, but they also provide changes to weapons that alter which options become optimal. In terms of the meta, the damage and functional skills are high priority because the higher your damage output is, the faster the hunt will be, the more hunts and combat experience you can get in, the more mats and zenny you can farm, the more gear you can obtain, resulting in more damage output. In a game as lengthy and complex as Monster Hunter, it wouldn't hurt to optimize your playtime by picking the best stats so that you could play more of the game in the same amount of time. Defensive skills bolster your ability to receive attacks without carding and give you immunity to statuses. They help you learn how to deal with the monster through trial and error, but they lose value the better you get as a hunter. In general, they are a hunter's training wheels as you learn the matchups, but you shouldn't need them by the time you get familiar with a given matchup. However, the quote-unquote meta defensive skills desire the immunity to certain types of attacks and statuses, warranting the use of skills like Stun Resistance, Shock Absorber, Intrepid Heart, Camellios Blessing, and Berserk. These let you ignore attacks that would otherwise force you to recover or dodge, letting you focus on hitting the monster, resulting in more damage uptime. The only time you'll see defense on a meta build is because it's on the charm or obtained through an augment. Lastly, quality of life skills are non-combat skills like Carving Pro and Good Luck. They offer no real value during the hunt, so they are rarely worth running even in the off-meta world. In terms of skill investment, there are 3 kinds of skills: front-loaded skills, back-loaded skills, and flat skills. Front-loaded skills offer the most value on the first level of the skill, providing diminished returns on subsequent levels like Burst, Element Exploit, Bloodlust, and Bloodright. You run these skills at level 1. Backloaded skills offer the most value on the later levels of the skill, requiring more investment for the big rewards like Attack Up, Dragon Conversion, Furious, and Dragonheart. These skills are run at level 3 or higher because you are chasing the good effects. Flat skills provide a uniform increase on all levels like Resentment, Crit Boost, and Max Might. You can either run them at max power or at minimal levels depending on what you need from your set. The ideal strategy is to run the backloaded skills for their game warping abilities, while squeezing in the front-loaded skills through decorations or specific armor pieces. Flat skills will be treated either like a backloaded skill or a front-loaded skill depending on their effect. By building your sets this way, you minimize the skill investment with diminishing returns and maximize your damage output and your individual weapon's potential. Charms and augments are the last part of the set. They are RNG based, meaning you will be chasing these parts of the set in order to finish your build. Charms can only be obtained through melding, and the various methods produce a certain level of quality as you progress. There are always 2 methods, one that requires the use of monster parts, and the other the use of charms to recycle. The best practice is to use the monster part method to farm up a bunch of charms and then recycle them using the charm method while you farm up for more monster parts. Rinse and repeat, and you should always have enough materials to craft more charms throughout your playthrough. Until curious charm methods are available, your main goal during a playthrough is to get a charm with 2 points of a damage or functional skill with a 2-1-1 slot distribution. For curious charms, you aim for god charms. Any augment/armor lock skill you want on a charm with the max possible level with one of the 3 perfect slot distributions: 4-1-1, 2-2-2, or 3-3-1 slots. These will provide the most recyclability of your charms between sets. For weapon augments, you will need to unlock 10 augment slots and your stat upgrades. You receive a boost depending on your weapon's secondary stat. Non-element and status weapons get 40 free attack, while element gets 25 attack and 18 element. Both weapons get 20 units of sharpness for Blade Master weapons. For most of the roster, you will invest into attack for non-element weapons, and 8 levels of element with 1 level of attack for element weapons. Greatsword and the bowguns augment for raw attack due to how their weapons work. Shelling Gunlance does its own thing with augments. Affinity, status, and sharpness are bad augments because their damage return is lower than flat increases of raw attack and element, while the rampage slot is used primarily to gain access to anti-species decorations or Elembane. You will be using your essences to roll for specific augments. On every piece, you should aim for a minimum of 1 skill without losing a skill you need. If a piece has crit boost, you don't want to trade this skill for another one, since you will need to recoup that crit boost level by slotting it back in. You will roll for skills at the cost of defense and elemental resistances using the default augment method, or rolling off a skill you don't need using the skills plus method, like Ammo Saver for Blade Master players. Slot should not be the priority unless the armor piece sprouts a level 1 slot in conjunction with a skill, or a fresh level 2 slot or higher from nothing. Most endgame sets have strict augments you have to aim for, So the slots plus method becomes the worst method to use since it will only get you decoration based skills. After fully augmenting your armor, you should end with 5 additional skills on the set at minimum, and you can keep searching for the ideal double skill augments if you want absolute perfection. The meta sets revolve around the 5 skill model, so don't worry about getting 2 points worth of skills on every piece, but take them if they pop up. You want to aim for generic skills that can be applied to multiple weapons instead of specific skills like fire attack +1 or rapid morph. Like if this video was useful to you, consider subscribing if you want to see more analysis videos like these. Comment your thoughts on the video. That's all I got for this one. Greedy Knight, signing out.